Mike Smith and Songbird on the inside, now being put to a drive and put to the test for the first time. And on the outside, Karina Mia is even with her. And they're coming into the final furlong. And what a Coaching Club American Oaks. Songbird has repelled Karina Mia. Songbird has opened up a 3-length lead. Karina Mia has been left behind. Songbird has whistled past the graveyard of champions, winning the Coaching Club American Oaks by 5 lengths over Karina Mia.
This is Saratoga track announcer Larry Colmus, and you're listening to the Paddock Pass on 104.5 The Team.
Welcome, everyone, to the first Saratoga edition of the Paddock Pass. Thank you for joining me. Of course, I am your host, Brian Mariano, and what a weekend it was at Saratoga and at Del Mar as well. We'll dive into both of those huge weekends, and of course, we'll dive into this weekend's big Jim Dandy weekend. A lot of things to cover, not only at Del Mar, but at Saratoga as well. Thank you again for joining us. Again, you can follow me on Twitter at 1045 Mariano. We'll be covering the meet for the next 5 weeks. And this Saratoga meet has been a very interesting start to the meet, to say the least, as we look at some of the standings so far. Irad Ortiz Jr. had 4 wins opening day. He leads jockeys right now with 8 wins, winning at a 25% clip. Kieran McLaughlin, a lot of friends of mine are big fans of Kieran McLaughlin, and he had a huge start to the meet by winning 75% of his starters, having 6 wins out of 8 starts, and he leads the trainer standings so far. Local trainer Chad Brown is sitting in third with 3 wins, Todd Pletcher in second with 5. And in the owners as well, Godolphin Racing Stable had a perfect weekend, winning 3 for 3. They lead the owner standings so far. Now, this show we tape on Tuesday night. We look back at this weekend, and of course, the huge story of the weekend was Songbird. I was lucky enough to be there, not only in the paddock, but in the winner's circle, as that filly ran to victory in the Coaching Club of American Oaks, and this is by far her most impressive win. We had high expectations. Of course, I had high expectations back in April when I was screaming across the country to have Jerry Hollendorfer run her in the Kentucky Derby, and it doesn't seem like, obviously, those moves are going to happen this year. Obviously, she wins very impressively on Sunday, and the next move is in 3 weeks when we look towards the Alabama, her first chance to really go that 1.25 mile championship distance. And of course, we were lucky enough to be there to cover it, but Jerry Hollendorfer and Mike Smith caught up with Maggie Wolfendale right after the race.
Mike, first kind of time she was headed from behind. Any trepidation from you or her?
No, I mean, Kyrie Mir is an unbelievable filly, and I knew that she was going to give me a serious run at some point. And Songbird was going to have to do something she hadn't done before, and that's dig in a little bit. And she did, and what I like about it was that she dug in and she prevailed, and she was actually probably getting away from a little further there, down by the wire. And saying that, it's a tough place to ship in from out of town and win, and the last 7 champions have tried it and hadn't been able to do it, but it takes something special to do it, and she did it.
And she did, and she's bucking that trend from last year. But here with trainer Jerry Hollendorfer, what an excellent job you've done with this filly. What gives you the confidence to bring an undefeated filly to, well, the graveyard of champions?
Well, I don't look at it that way. We just wanted to bring her back east and try to win this race. And if we come out good tomorrow, we'd like to try to go for the Alabama, see if we can go 1.25 miles. But this is the race we wanted to run in.
Well, Jerry, thank you so much for bringing her here. The fans absolutely love her. How special is she to horse racing?
She's real special, and I was very impressed with Billy Mott's horse. I thought she ran a very courageous race. So, we got tested today, and that was good for both fillies.
Well, enjoy this. Congratulations with Songbird. We look forward to seeing her in the Alabama.
Thank you.
And all of us really look forward to seeing her in the Alabama as well. That's going to be the real test. This weekend, Karina Mia is a fine filly. Don't you worry. She is going to have great things come to her. But she ran into a buzzsaw in Songbird. And I feel like with only one great filly going up against Songbird, she's going to beat that every time. The issue is going to be if Rachel's Valentina comes and runs, if you have Go Maggie Go, and a lot of the off-the-tracks types horses where these horses can gang up on Songbird and then possibly take her down and not run just head-to-head, because she will beat any of these fillies, maybe even some of these 3-year-old males, head-to-head. And I still think she's the best 3-year-old in the country. I know I have doubters out there, which we will get to in this weekend's Jim Dandy for the boys, but I still think she's the best 3-year-old, and she's catapulting into being one of the best horses in the country. We won't see that huge jump up to the older horse fields, like, taking on Beholder and those other horses until the end of her 3-year-old season. Another big race that was this past weekend was the San Diego Handicap out of Del Mar, and that was the showdown, another match race, as we saw, between California Chrome and Dortmund. And I was very impressed with Dortmund's race, because this horse is coming off a severely long layoff and had a lot of issues in his 3-year-old campaign, coming back and running nose-to-nose, quite literally, with the horse racing caliber that was California Chrome and still is. California Chrome might be the best horse in the country right now. We don't know, because they're kind of coddling him off of his layoff from the Dubai World Cup. And I feel like we're setting up to have quite the showdown in the Breeders' Cup Classic in late October, early November, because California Chrome stays on par. We will see him probably in the Pacific Classic next. You'll see Dortmund there. You might even see Beholder there again, so she can take on the boys like she did last year as she romped. And she worked this past week in an impressive 58. And I'm looking forward to seeing her coming back after issues that took her out of the Breeders' Cup Classic against American Pharoah last year. That race is shaping up to be a doozy, as is the Travers. We will look to this weekend's Jim Dandy, and you're going to have horses like Creator, like Destin. Exaggerator is the question mark here. Keith DeSormeau, there's been talks around the barns all week that maybe he might want to keep this horse out because of the taxing run that he went through in the Triple Crown races. But I don't see that happening. I know there's a lot of whispers in the backstretch. A lot of people I talk to up at the track are talking about him maybe skipping the Jim Dandy and giving an extra 3 weeks rest. I don't see that happening. I think Keith's going to run him anyway and then see what he has before he runs in the Travers. Worst case, if he does run in the Jim Dandy, doesn't have a good performance, he can keep him off, maybe keep him for the Jockey Club Gold Cup down at Belmont, and then send him west for the Breeders' Cup. A horse I'm really interested in this weekend in that Jim Dandy is Governor Malibu. I love that horse on Belmont Day. Got shut off on the inside of the 8th pole. Thought had a chance to win the race, and I still got nosed out because I love Destin as well. But I'm very interested to see how this horse takes to the Saratoga track. A little bit of deeper surface, and interesting when they draw on Wednesday where this horse is drawn, because if he sits a clean trip, I think he can upset, and I think I'm going to get a good price easily at 5 or 6 to 1. Another race I like this weekend that is actually on Friday is the Curlin Stakes. Now, this past weekend, Chad Brown had a horse, My Man Sam, who ran in the Toyota Bluegrass in the Kentucky Derby and then came back in an allowance race. And I wouldn't say she upsetted because lost to Taylor Verve, who ran in last year's Triple Crown with American Pharoah and ran second in the Preakness. Now, when you run an allowance company after running in big races such as the Toyota Bluegrass, such as the Kentucky Derby and those Triple Crown races, when you run an allowance company, and I thought that was a very tough allowance race, he should have blown by those horses. There should have been no reason why that horse should have hung like he did at the 8th pole all the way to the wire. So that was a race I was talking to a few friends of mine where the horse could have blown the field away and then maybe look to run in the Travers as well, getting another week layoff as these other horses would have been running in the Curlin and the Jim Dandy. But Chad Brown sends out another one in Gift Box. This horse is going to be a monster, and he doesn't have an easy task this weekend because he has the like of Swipe and Forever Doro in this race as well. This is actually a gem. I can't wait to be up there on Friday, be on with Levac and Wolf at 2:15, and then be able to watch this race afterwards, because I think this is going to be one of the best races of the weekend, even with the Jim Dandy being that same weekend. Watch out for Gift Box. He's going to be a single in a lot of my plays. I think Chad Brown has a really good one here. And then, of course, I have to pick the Jim Dandy. I'm going to stay with Destin because I feel like Destin ran a huge race in the Belmont, Was unfortunate to get caught by Creator. Steve Asmussen's been around the barn too. I asked him how Creator was doing. He had a great work the other day. I just don't know if there's going to be pace for Creator to run into in this race. Although the track has been playing favorable to horses that have been coming a little bit off the pace, it hasn't been as speed favoring as it has been in years past. I still think Destin sits the better trip, sits maybe a length or two off of any leader, and then is be able to pounce at the top of the stretch. This weekend's prep races for the Travers, I'm going with Gift Box in the Curlin. I'm going with Destin in the Jim Dandy. And this is going to set up to be a huge prep weekend for the Travers in 3 weeks. Of course, you can follow me on Twitter at 1045Mariano. I was lucky enough to be around there all weekend. I will be there every day this meet, giving you all the insight we can. If you get a hold of me on Twitter, don't be afraid to tweet at me. When I put this up on the site, don't be afraid. Throw your comments on the bottom of Facebook. If there's anything you want to know, tweet at me. Is there anything anyone you want me to go talk to? Tweet at me. Let me know. I will give you picks every day. We're doing pretty well with the picks so far. Had a great weekend. Hit the pick 4 on Friday. Wasn't a huge investment, but we had a decent amount of return, paying just about $100. Then we were lucky enough to hit the pick 4 on Sunday, and then we were lucky enough to actually have, I'm sorry, not on Sunday, but on Monday, and we are batting right around 40% for the meet with the picks so far. So any interest you have, any picks against me that you didn't like, let me know. I love interacting with a lot of people on the show, and I love the fact that you guys listen, because without you guys listening, this show doesn't mean anything, and I'm doing everything that I can to make sure that this is one of the best horse racing podcasts we have out there, especially during Saratoga time. So I appreciate you guys listening. Next week's episode is going to be huge. We're working on getting Paul LaDuca from TVG to come and join us, maybe even have another guest, maybe a trainer that's around here. Working on that. Make sure you check this out next week. Every Tuesday we'll be doing the Paddock Pass, and you can listen all the time at 1045theteam.com. Thanks, guys. We'll see you next week, and maybe we'll see you in the paddock.